Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome. I'm sure we'll have a bunch of people starting to hop in now that we are live, but just giving it a few seconds so everyone can make their way in and watch. So I can get used to this no matter how many times I'm in front of the camera, guys. It's still always nerve-wracking those first few minutes of having my face be on camera. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen so that my face isn't taking up like the entire window. So let me go ahead. But hello, welcome, good morning to everybody here. Hope you guys are doing awesome. Hey, hey. Lori says, hey, hey. Cool. Okay, that's much better. I like being a little bit tinier. You guys can all see my screen, right? It should be the ClickPro homepage. Let's see who we got in here. I'm just gonna start calling out. Hi, Lori. Hi, Zoe. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Miran. Hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. Hey. Oh, okay, awesome. You go by Adelina. That's actually a beautiful name. Hey, Adelina. My name is Courtney Larson, and I am the director of ClickPro. I have been a ClickPro member, a ClickPro myself for, 2014. So going on almost 6 years now. I've been a photographer for 8 years. I picked up a DSLR and immediately started a business. Don't recommend it. Did it all the wrong ways, but I was super passionate and I wanted to dive right in. I don't know if you guys are like that, but that's kind of how I work. I dive into things and I want to master them immediately. So picked up a camera, didn't know how to shoot manual, stumbled into the Click and Moms community. If anybody of you are over at Click and Moms, learned how to shoot manual, and then shortly after, well, not shortly after, I think it was 3 years, applied to ClickPro and became a ClickPro. And I was a ClickPro member up until, I still am, up until 2018. June 2018, I took over as director, and no secret, I tell everybody, but it's my dream job. I've always imagined what ClickPro could be and how we could grow it to make it a stronger place, a place that actually is affecting the way the world views women in photography. And so it's a super huge dream of mine to be able to be doing this and to bring you guys along for the ride. I don't see us as being like a sorority of being in and out or being some kind of like clique. I think even those that are in the ClickPro community will tell you that our philosophy is that everybody should be the best version of themselves. So even through the ClickPro process, although like a denial really stinks to send, it's like my least favorite thing in the entire world, like root canal, sending a ClickPro denial. ClickPro denial is really bad. But I also know that the process of applying and the standards that we've established through ClickPro, which we'll get into, are meant to make you a stronger, better photographer. And putting those in place and having you work towards such a huge goal will make you better. And that's the whole point of the ClickPro process. It's to get you to work towards something bigger and better, and to have you come out a stronger version of yourself, regardless if you are accepted into the ClickPro community or are not yet accepted, because it's never just a, never. It's not, our no's are not nevers. That like 5, anyways. So just to give you a view of that, but I wanted to talk about who we are, kind of the history of ClickPro, what we're about, our benefits, our standards, and the application process, what that looks like, answer any questions that people have, which I've dropped a bunch of questions that I already got previous to this. And then anything else you guys want to talk about. I have a really fun this, not that that I'm going to show you. I asked the pro community to give me 2 images that were really similar to each other, one that works towards the standards and one that doesn't, and tell me why they chose this and not that. So I think that's going to be really fun to look at. But if you guys have any questions, I want you to drop it in the ask a question box so that I can go and review it. It also helps because I can actually say when I'm answering. So anybody that reviews this later on, they can see the question and it'll actually hop to where I answer it. So drop it and ask a question. If there's a question in the ask a question that you also have, you can upvote it, which just means you're telling me that it's really important and a lot of you want to know the question. You can see I already dropped a bunch in there myself. But this is a time, if you have any kind of question, please let me know. And I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm just going to kind of talk through things. No, like, you know, crazy direct plan. Hopefully it doesn't bother you, but you can always watch this later. So if you have to skip out and you miss the rest, just know that it will be on here and you can rewatch it at any time. So let's just dive in. And if you guys have a question, drop it in, or if you need my attention, talk in the chat box. Awesome. Adelina says, what are the criteria for the application? Perfect. I'm going to move that over to the questions box for you so that I can make sure I touch base on that. Okay, so Click Pro. Hi guys, welcome to Click Pro. I say straight up, Click Pros, where passion meets community. We are a group of female photographers that are all passionate about what we do, regardless if it's hobbyist or professional. And by professional, I mean that you have a working business. About 40% of our members do not have a business and 60% of them do have a business. So a question I get a lot is, you know, I'm a hobbyist, can I join? Yes, you can. Almost 50% of our members do not have a business. They're just passionate about photography and passionate about, you know, what they shoot. And they range. Our genres and styles are vastly different from each other. If you look at the spectrum of our artists, which we can look at when we get over to the daily project. But we're just a group of women that are passionate about photography. And I say meets community because that is 100% the central heartbeat of who we are, is building community amongst artists from all over the world. Our artists represent something like 27 countries, a lot. But our mission is we're an association of professional photographers. Again, professional doesn't mean you have a business. It means that you have reached a specific skill level. So we're an association of professional photographers pursuing advanced artistic and business development while amplifying the voice of women worldwide. So we want to grow. We're life learners, Click Pros. We're constantly looking on how to evolve ourselves and our association. Business development, we have a lot of tools in place that help pros that have businesses create stronger businesses while amplifying the voice of women worldwide. That is like our overarching theme. We want the world to see who we are, what our members produce, and what women are capable of within photography, which we all know that we're capable of really huge, amazing things. So we want to voice that. I say that like we act as almost an agency for the artists in our community. We connect them to our sister brands. We connect them to companies, to each other. We really are that connecting point to the world. So that is a little blurb about who we are. But let's talk about our history, because there can be there is confusion sometimes with how Click Pro works into our sister brands, which if you aren't familiar with our sister brands, this would be a great segue for you to understand our sister brands. So I'm going to make sure you guys can see what's going on here. So Click & Company is our parent company, and we are a family of brands. So we have a bunch of different brands within the Click & Company umbrella. Click & Moms, which I know a lot of Click Pros typically start out and learn about Click Pro through Click & Moms. Click, which is the magazine. Click Photo School, which all of the instructors are Click Pros. Click Away, that's our yearly retreat. It's happening next year, March in Atlanta. I'm super excited. Click Pro, that's us. Click and Co Store, and Let the Kids, which is a lifestyle blog and social media hub. So those are our 7 brands that are underneath the Click and Company umbrella. We are separate brands, although because we are all underneath the Click and Company umbrella, we work really, really closely together. And there is a lot of overlap, which is where if you've been confused about Click and Moms, Click Magazine, Click Pro, all of those, it's because we really love each other. I mean, it's like a sister relationship, you know, we really love each other. And so we try to work together as much as possible. And especially within Click Pro, a lot of our benefits are tied to how we work with our sister companies. So as a Click Pro member, you receive a free Click and Moms membership, which is a $60 a year membership, or you receive a free Click magazine. That's $28 a year. You receive it free every year as long as you're a Click Pro. Click Photo School, obviously all of those instructors over at Click Photo School are Click Pros. So Click Photo School thinks really highly of our instructors and the professionals that come out of the Click Pro application process. So if you would like to teach, if that is a goal you have, Click Pro is the first step to getting there. Click and Co Store, obviously all of the breakouts that are there that go over to the Click and Co Store are taught by Click Pros. Click Away and Let the Kids, if you guys follow Let the Kids on Instagram, again, it's a social media hub first and foremost. So I just wanted to show you kind of the hierarchy of how our brands work together. Click Pro actually started as a subset of Click and Moms. So Click and Moms, the forum, which I think I have it here somewhere. Click and Moms. If you're not on Click and Moms, I highly, highly recommend it, which actually I'm going to go ahead and sign in really quick so you guys can see some of Click and Moms here. So we had Click and Moms, and Click Pro actually started out as a part of Click and Moms. So it was actually used to be CM Pro, Click and Moms Pro, and then we moved it out of the Click and Moms brand. It was for a little while under Click Magazine before we, in 2018, made the decision to make it its own complete entity and its own complete brand. So we are Click Pro, and of course we still work really closely with Click and Moms, but we are our own brand. And I wanted to show you some special things about Click Pro. Let's see if we can go to a conversation here. I'm just going to meet the pros because I wanted you to see how, here we go. We'll look at Molly. Molly recently joined, I think just a few months ago. So you can see that Molly is a lifetime member, which is a lifetime Click and Moms member. But when she became a Click Pro, she received her free Click Pro or Click and Moms membership, and she also got a Click Pro badge, which is this little thing here that says that she is a Click Pro. So all of the people that have been accepted into Click Pro receive a Click Pro badge on their Click and Moms. I'm trying to see if there's any others. You can see Leah there. They receive Click Pro badges. The other benefit is that we do have a Click Pro only set of the forum. So, you know, our main hub really within our community is our private Facebook page. But if you do not use Facebook, we also have a whole section of the forum that is only open to Click Pros. So you can always hop on over here and find out what's going on or chat with people. You can see the Click Pro chat, our announcements, start here guide, all of that on the forum. I'm gonna make sure nobody's asking some questions. Awesome. So we actually started out as a subset of Click and Moms, and then we've moved away from that, and we are our own sister brand. So I hope that helps describe kind of the history of Click Pro. Started 2010, so we're 9 years old here. And now here is our site. So if you've been to our site, if not, I do have a little thing there where you can hop over to our site, but this will explain some more about our process. So let's talk about the benefits before we jump into the application process. Talk about the benefits of Click Pro and why you'd want to join. First and foremost, it's definitely community. I mean, I can hop over to the Facebook here. Oh, I have to sign in. Let me share my other screen. Let me see if I can. You're going to see my face for a second. Hey! Let me share just the Facebook page here. Perfect. So we have our private Facebook group, 686 members here. And this is the hub of where a lot of conversation happens. Pretty much all of our members are active. If I was to show you the metrics, they're all engaging within the Facebook page pretty much on a daily basis, with like something between 20 and 100 posts happening every day. So there's a lot of discussion, a lot of movement. All of our announcements, calls for Click Magazine, which we can see here. Amy, who is part of the Click Magazine, she's looking for pros that use pro photo lighting. That's our process. You can see Sarah with the open call, which she does a article within Click Magazine called Why It Works. And Cameron, who is the editor-in-chief of Click Magazine, is looking for information. So you can see that they post all of the different things that Click Magazine, Click Blog, Click and Mom's blog are looking for. They'll do like calls for artists or images. So we can see all the announcements that are happening there within the other sister brands. And then just all of the conversations. There's conversations about best practices or wanting to do Instagram loops with all How about now, guys? I feel like I'm trying everything on my end to get this to connect. Yes, okay. Okay, yeah, you're there. Wow, that was 10 minutes of weird. I don't know why it decided to disconnect, but hopefully that was recording. Okay, let me try and share my screen, which is what I feel like I attempted to do when it decided to not play nice. Okay, sharing my screen again. Yay! Thank you for all of you that held out for that window of time. I'm just gonna start talking again from here because I don't know where we ended off. Did you guys see the Facebook group? Were you able to see my screen when I was sharing our private Facebook group? Thank you, Camilla. Okay. Since you can see me, I'm gonna keep talking. Okay, so our benefits. I talked about community. We have the private forum, the private Facebook group. We have collaborative projects, which every single month we all do something, a collaborative project where we're working together, and it's led by 1 to 3 pros. We just wrapped up a freelancing collaborative project, and then now we're working on 30 Days of Thankful. So the whole point is that we have all of these different pros of all different genres and styles and technical abilities. So the collaborative projects are a way for us to break out of our comfort zones and try new things and have it be led by pros that are really skilled in those areas. So like Lens Baby, again, or freelancing, which we just wrapped up, was really fun. Or we did a diptych one that was really cool, led by Roxanne, a pro who's just phenomenal at them. Around Town, which was led by a few different pros that are really amazing at street photography. So it's getting us to do things we may not be comfortable with, and within the community. So we get to share it with each other and we get to grow together. Again, I really believe that Click Pros are life learners. It's not that you get this badge and then you just reach this level of excellency and you never have to do anything after that. We're very aware that there's things that we can grow in and we can become better versions of ourselves even after becoming a Click Pro. So that's kind of how the collaborative project was started and began. It was out of this idea that we still wanted to create and to get our hands dirty and try new things. So every single month we have a collaborative project. We also Instagram hashtag it, so you can always follow along with our collaborative projects. It's like Click Pro November project, Click Pro October project, and you can follow along on Instagram and see what pros are sharing, or you can follow along on the daily project, which I'll get to the daily project here in a second. Exposure. So we know the work it takes to master photography and the level expected of a Click Pro. Beyond the badge, we're here to help share your success with the world. And that's what I said earlier, is that we really see ourselves as an agency for our members, and any way we can get you in front of more people and kind of toot your horn for you or whatever, just I call it Click Pro in the wild, like show where you are popping up and what your successes are, is what we want to do. So we have 300K Facebook followers, 15K on Instagram, which actually now it's closer to 17K on our Click Pro Instagram, Click It Moms, Click Magazine, Click & Co Store, Click Away. All of our different brands together have, oh gosh, over 200K Instagram followers, and we want to share the work of Click Pros first and foremost. So outside of the Click Pro Instagram, you have access to a huge audience. And you know, exposure is kind of like one of those words. As a working photographer, I completely get like sometimes you know, you'll get those offers like, oh, I'll do this for you and I'll give you like exposure. And we kind of laugh at that, right? Like us photographers, like, no, we don't need the exposure of you talking to your 2 best friends. Like, well, maybe I do. For weddings, it'd be kind of nice, but that doesn't pay our bills, right? So like, I know this idea of like getting exposure is kind of, you know, a thought we don't like within the business side of photography. But I tell people like, no, like we actually follow through. It's not like you're going to get exposure and you never know exactly what that means. That we have such a huge community, and we are able to really get pros some solid exposure, which is just huge. You're just opening yourself up to a whole other world, especially if you're wanting to go into teaching and pursue Click Photo School as a teaching avenue or pursue a breakout opportunity. It's just there's such a huge ability to show yourself as a leader within the photography community and get yourself in front of a lot of people, which as a business owner can be really, really good for me. I know the first time I was ever published in Click Magazine, it was a birth story I was published for, and out of that I actually booked 2 local births of women that just loved photography and received the magazine and booked me. So just as a business owner, it's been really great for me to be a Click Pro and have access to that exposure. So 200K email subscribers, 25K daily project viewers, which is actually more like 35K right now, which let me go over to the daily project, make sure you guys can see the daily project. Hopefully I'm still there. Randomly throw up like a "you're there" or something on the chat. And I know that this is still working out. Awesome. Okay. So the daily project, this is actually our members, besides the Facebook page, #1 favorite thing about being a Click Pro, which I just did a huge survey with them, and that was surprising to me, but semi-surprising to me. But I really loved seeing how much everybody enjoys the daily project. So we are the first collaborative blog, meaning we have all of our members able to share images once a day. They can share an image on the Click Pro Daily Project. And so we get, 900 plus pros all sharing to this from all over the world daily. And it's just really cool to be able to see this snapshot of amazing artists on what they're doing, where they are, what they're shooting, all on the daily project. So if you've never been to the Click Pro Daily Project, it's clickprophotographers.com/daily project. And you get to go and see just this huge body of work from all of our different pros, who they are, again, what they're sharing, the uniqueness that they bring. You can see Julie, Eileen. It's just a really beautiful way of showcasing our photographers, our pros. So I highly recommend you go to the Daily Project. The really cool thing about the Daily Project is that we have 30,000 views monthly, at least. Somewhere between 25 and I think last month was 36,000 views a month. So we have a huge amount of traffic to the Daily Project. Of course, it's existed now for 8 years. So it's just built up this momentum that just can't stop. I think it's really cool that pros get found. First of all, let me say that the Daily Project is the #1 source for Click Magazine. So if you've ever wanted to be published and you have goals of being published in Click Magazine, first become a Click Pro, because Click Magazine wants to showcase work of Click Pros. If you ever look through Click Magazine, it's like 99% the work of Click Pros. It's like our magazine, which I absolutely love seeing pros in there. But it's because the Daily Project is their #1 source. So Cameron and her team are constantly on the Daily Project, looking at what's being posted, look at who's posting it, or sourcing images. So say they need an image for a specific story or a specific idea. Their first source they're going to go to is the Daily Project. Their second source is probably going to be the Click Pro Facebook page, and ask for image calls or see who is currently shooting, what they're looking for. So this is the perfect way to get published, because this is where they're sourcing their images. So that's really helpful. But then other sources too. I really loved that Nikon found Nicole via the Daily Project, and you can see her images on Nikon's main page right now, which I'm super proud of her for scoring that. But we can go through, and what I also love about the Daily Project is, let me go, actually, we'll just click on this one. Is that we also feel that it's a source for education. Obviously, Click Pros are we see as the leaders of photography. So as much as we want them to turn into educators in any way possible, even as hobbyists. So you can see that when you click on an image, Cassie got a 6 points for creativity and intention and color. She definitely got a 6 points for color, which if you guys know, 6s don't come easy. I don't give those out like, I don't know, Halloween candy. But she got a 6 for color, which if we go over to her feed, you'll be able to see. But sidetracked. What I really love is that you can see settings for all of these different images. You can click on the images and see exactly the camera body, the lens, and the settings used to capture those images, which before I was a Click Pro, that was really big for me. I was able to see these images that I loved and kind of get almost behind the scenes view about how they were captured. And it helped me grow, like, oh, okay, 6.3. No wonder her focus is like so tack sharp. You know, I've been shooting that at like 1.4. Like, I need to stop down and really just hone in on my focus like Cassie is doing, which let's go over to Cassie's. I love her work. So you can just see all of their work and all of the images you love. You can go in and look at the settings, and 30. You can see she uses her 35 almost exclusively. You can see ISO 1600. I'm gonna like that because I like it. And then obviously you get a link to her work. On the Click Pro standpoint, the daily project is really strong. Daily project is really strong because it gives you backlinks. Backlinks are like the secret sauce of SEO. So every single image you post, you can link to your website and Instagram. You can also link this to your website or Instagram. And so you're giving yourself really strong backlinks every time you post. The daily project is a solid way to gain SEO on your website, which for me, I'm a wedding photographer primarily. The daily project has helped me to own the phrase documentary wedding photographer. Like I have been able to just really hone in on my SEO with that verbiage, and the daily project is one way I was able to do that. Okay, I'm gonna make sure you guys, what is the average time frame for a person to become a pro in? I like to work on a rough time frame. Okay, I'm gonna add that to your questions. Okay, let's go back. So we talked about exposure, community, business building. We have the pro directory, teaching opportunities, vendor partnerships, and advanced video library. So the photographer directory is something we created just this year. We launched it. We used to have just a pro directory. It was absolutely pathetic. I'm just going to say it. It was just a list of names and locations, and it linked to the website, but it didn't really do much. So we actually launched the photographer directory, which is open for anybody to have a listing in. And it is the fastest growing directory in the world right now. I mean, we launched just a few months ago, and I think we have 700 listings currently and growing. It's rapidly growing, and it's really exciting. So any of you guys can get a listing, but the unique thing about the photographer directory, like everything we do in Click Pro, we want to really showcase the work of Click Pros and show how they have reached a level of skill and excellency that we're proud of. So the filters, we have an advanced filter so people can search for only Click Pros. You can see that there's a Click Pro badge that shows up on listings as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for some Click Pros here. So we can, Laura, I love Laura's work. So she's over in Connecticut. Obviously, you can search by location and photography type as well. But you can see that her Click Pro badge is right here. And she also has reviews, which is awesome. So this gives you a little showcase of her work, about her, where she is, her style, some images of her work. I mean, come on, look at that. So stunning. Oh, Jen is also a Click Pro. Oh, look, fellow Click Pro Jen. That's awesome. Jen actually shot my own newborn session. So you can showcase a session here. Absolutely stunning. Contact her and read her reviews or leave a review. So that is a listing. The other thing, anybody can get a verified listing. So we really believe that if you are working as a business, you should be a legal working business. And so we have a way for visitors, not photographers, looking for a photographer, can search by a verified listing, which means that they have shown proof that they have a legal business and they are a working photographer. So you can see all these pros are first. Pros show up first, but then here's ones that aren't pros that have purchased a listing. So if you are not a Click Pro and you want to be listed on the directory, you can either get a basic free directory. It does have limitations with the listings, and I can show you that. Or you can get a verified business listing, which is the exact same as what Click Pros have, except you don't have the Click Pro badge, but you do have a verified business badge. So you can see right here, Beth's listing. And obviously, like, we want to see her pro badge there. We hope that she applies and becomes a Click Pro. But let me show you the basic. Oh, I have to stop searching for verified in order to do that. Okay, let's search for Phoenix. That's where I am. And I'm just going to search real quick and see if any basic listings come up so you guys can see them. Here we go. So you can see the difference. A basic listing doesn't have a feature image. It doesn't have a headshot. And Amanda hasn't put them in yet, but you do get 3 images that you can showcase. So she hasn't put those in her listing. But there is a possibility of 3 images. Let's see if Click and Duo has done that. She hasn't either. So you do get, again, 3 images, but you don't have that feature image, and obviously you can't get the verified badge, and obviously you can't get the pro badge. But if you guys want to be listed on the directory, it is free. You just hit sign up here. Free for a basic, I should say. Basics are free, or you get a verified, which is the exact same as a Click Pro, and it's $50 a year. Obviously, when you become a Click Pro, you receive that free. Our Click Pros don't pay for their listings, and they do populate first. There is perks to being a Click Pro on the photographer directory, but I wanted to point that out because this is one way where, and you can also, if you guys want to hop over your listings, clickprophotographers.com, you can check your backlinks, which is really great. Way for you to see where you are within the backlinks. We have our own stats here, which has only gone up. You can see all of our backlinks and our domain rating. Okay, let me make sure you guys aren't chatting. Oh, Camilla, you're fine. I added it to the questions. Camilla asked a question and I popped it over in the questions. You're totally fine. If there's questions, I'll just pop them over. I'm super used to that. You don't need to worry about putting it in the wrong place. Okay, cool. So photographer directory, teaching opportunities, obviously Click Photo School, teaching opportunities, vendor relationships, or vendor partnerships. You saw on the Facebook page that any kind of vendor partnerships that come up, any way we can connect pros to vendors are posted as announcements, and pros can answer. I know, like, just recently, Elizabeth of the Click blog was looking for photographers that use their iPhone a lot. So she asked for Instagram accounts of pros that use iPhone only. So there's all those different opportunities that are posted. An advanced video library, all of our webinars. So if you go to this channel here, our Crowdcast channel, you can see webinars. And then we have like another 40 other webinars. All of these are saved within the Advanced Video Library, also known as the Advanced Learning Library. And pros can watch them for free anytime. So it's just a growing library of content taught by our pro community. So we believe in giving back to each other and growing and really investing into the community. So our pros lead those on various topics, and they all go in the video library. Perks. Free Click Magazine, free Click and Moms membership, vendor discounts. So there are specific discounts to presets and other partnerships that happen within the Click & Co store. So that's the main perks. I'm gonna hop over here and make sure there's no questions about our benefits, which I think everybody has questions about how to apply, which is great because I want you guys to apply and become a Click Pro. So if there's no things about benefits, let's talk about the application, right? Like, let's get into the nitty-gritty of application. What we look for. Our common thread is not what we photograph, how long we've been doing it, the gear we use, or any other surface experience. It's that each of us has chosen to utilize photography as our creative medium. There's so many unique titles we could use to individually identify ourselves: photographer, creative, storyteller, artist, light seeker, rule breaker, however you would identify. But it's not just about who we are individually. We are a community, a group of women that believe we're stronger when we come together and support one another. When you join Click Pro, you aren't just getting a fun badge or cool benefits, but the experience of having 1,000 women in your corner. I believe that to the core of who I am, that you are gaining a community unlike any other community that exists. It's pretty epic. So let's go over to the application and talk about the requirements. So applicants are required to submit a 150 image portfolio of work that's critiqued on 7 categories. Actually, I'm gonna open up the standards here because this is even an easier way to understand. Somewhere here here we go. Okay. Standards are comprised of 7 categories, and each category has a possible 6 points. So 7 categories plus 6 points means that you can have a totality of 42 points. That's the highest you can score on your application. You have to have a minimum of 32 points to be invited to join Click Pro. And you have to have a minimum of a 4 in exposure. So you can't get like a 6 in everything and a 3 in exposure. You have to be competent in exposure. And really, if you're getting a 3 in exposure, likely you're not getting a 6 in the other ones. Like everything, they all affect each other, right? Like if you have extremely poor exposure, likely your use of light is not going to be the strongest, or your color is going to be off, all those things. Processing is going to be affected because you're not processing it to have correct exposure, all of that. But still, you just want to make sure you understand you have to have a 4 points in exposure, and then a total of 32 points or more to join Click Pro. And those are the 7 categories. And this is our guide, guys. If you want a copy of the guide, you can go to clickprofphotographers.com, which I know I linked it in this webinar, and scroll down and it'll automatically pop up right here. And you can put in your email address and it'll email you a copy of the standards guide right here. And we're just going to go through this really quick. I also want to say that panelists are not concerned about genre, rather than focusing on the technical and creative elements of every image. I get that a lot of like, Camilla, I'm pointing you out, but you're like, I'm a birth, I shoot births. Is that okay? And then I also have families. We're not necessarily concerned about like you having a style that fits our community. There's no style or genre that fits our community. We want to see who you are. And we're really excited about what you're shooting and what you're competent and comfortable with. And we want to invite that to Click Pro, not like you looking like everybody else doing exactly the same thing. In fact, that would hurt you. If I can't tell the difference between your work and someone else's work, then you're likely not going to score very high on creativity and intention. I want to see who you are and your personal take on what you shoot. Okay. So exposure triangle, I want you guys to download this because it really walks you through exactly why we're scoring things the way we are. And all of the panelists have this open while they're looking at applications. So let's say 5 points. Excellent exposure on virtually all images. Usually manages exposure well in challenging light. That means like there may be 1 or 2 images where exposure isn't perfect, or the challenging light, I can tell it was really difficult for the applicant. That's not going to make, you're probably going to score a 5. Excellent exposure on virtually all images. 4, consistently good exposure choices in simple lighting scenarios. But it's apparent that you struggle with challenging light. You'll score 4 points. And it can be hard maybe to self-critique yourself and look at this and go, oh, I'm going to score a 4. I'm going to score a 5. I'm going to score a 6. But this is good for you to be able to see, because you don't want to submit an application where you know that there's challenging light images and you are struggling with them. You want to make sure that you have excellent exposure on virtually all images and that you're handling challenging light really well. But this also helps explain your scores when you receive them back. So when you get a 4 points, you know that there were images where exposure wasn't correct in challenging light, or was apparent that you struggle with challenging light. So that's what you want to be self-critiquing on your set with. Then look at your set, look at the scores, and find out what we were seeing to receive that. And this is helping you understand that. Making sure you guys aren't seeing anything. Okay, so I want you guys to go through this guide and read it, and look at what the points are, look at what you need to score points. Point out a few things. Color and white balance. You actually don't need any color images in your set. If there's no color images and it's 150 images of black and white, we actually just double your use of light, because light becomes incredibly important to your story when you're working with only black and white. So we double your use of light score instead of giving you a color and white balance score. So keep that in mind. You don't need color images, but we will be really looking at your use of light then. And I feel like color white balance, I'm trying to think of like the top mistakes I see, or the top issues people have, would be, no, it's intention. And that kind of goes across all categories. But the top mistakes I see are having really, really similar images, meaning like 2 images with almost no variation. So it's a mom holding a baby, looking at the baby, and then a mom looking at the camera. And it's the exact same shot taken probably seconds apart, and both of them are in the application. That's probably the #1 mistake I see. And I say that comes down to intentionality, because you only have 150 times. You get to show me who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you unique, and show the intentionality of your work. And it feels like filler images when you have the same image with little to no variation. And what that says to me is that you don't actually know which one is stronger. You don't know which one shares who you are as an artist. And so you want me to decide. I want you to look at both of those images in that example and say, this one is stronger. The eye contact is stronger. This is the one that shares who I am most. I'll keep this one, cut the other one. Don't give me the same image twice. It actually doesn't make your set stronger. It makes your set weaker, and it really hurts that intentionality. So that's the #1 mistake I see is images with little to no variation. If you're gonna submit 5 images from the same exact session, say it's a family session out in a field, I want to see variation. Show me that you worked that and you got 5 varying shots, setups, lighting, and show me why it works, that you need all 5 of those in there to share who you are, instead of 5 shots that are very identical. And I shared this with Aubrey Barr's set in a previous webinar, which is on the Click and Moms forum. You guys can watch that, where I show you her set, her denied set. She's a pro now, and she is so awesome to let me showcase her denied set. But her first 2 images were essentially the same image. One was color, one was black and white. And it hurt her. It hurt her score. I want to know why. Why do you think this one? Why give me both? Give me just one. Which one is stronger? Is it stronger in color, or is it stronger in black and white? Because you're not really telling me much by saying, hey, I can convert the same image to black and white. Great, you can convert the same image to black and white, but which one is stronger and which one deserves a place in your portfolio? You only have 150 times. Don't waste the time just showing me you can convert an image. I believe you can convert an image if you just gave me the black and white. I'd be like, okay, she knows when to convert black and white. Sweet. But that hurt Aubrey's set, and one reason why she was denied was because she showed that lack of intentionality of understanding what makes a strong image and what makes an image weaker. So that is one of the top mistakes we see. And then color and white balance, definitely skin tones. I know when I was, before joining Click Pro, I really struggled with skin tones, and you'll hear me harp over and over again that to buy Sarah Wilkerson's Flawless, The Secrets of Skin ebook. It's in the Click and Co store. It's worth its weight in gold. I think it's $150. Trust me, it's worth it. It is so well written, and your brain will explode with information. And it helped me take my skin tones to the next level. Just because you're a documentary photographer doesn't mean you can get away with absolutely terrible white balance. I expect your white balance to fit the scene, but I also expect you to understand what that scene is telling you and what the white balance should be, and accurately sharing the scene. I want correct skin tones. That doesn't mean like turning. I'm talking to the documentary photographers right now because I get that. I'm in that community. It doesn't mean I want fluorescent light to look like it's sunset, but I want it to be correct. And not to have incorrect, greenish skin tones when they shouldn't be. And it was a lack of understanding with white balance rather than lighting. Okay. I'm going to get on so many tangents. So I'm sorry if I get on tangents, but I want you guys to go through this here. Sunny, I love this image so much. Isn't that absolutely stunning? It was fun building out this standards guide because I got to choose my favorite images. And this image from Sunny is one of my favorite images. Composition, watch those chops, guys, watch them. Chops is definitely a huge mistake we see. Careless limb chops. If you are cutting anybody, it's really extreme. You're saying something about how little you like them, or you're needing to create a severity in your work when you chop people up. Okay, so like really watch what's coming in and what's leaving your scene, and if it's necessary for the image. I say you are responsible for your corners. You're responsible for the outline of your image. So what is coming in and what is going out, you're responsible for that. It is your choice when you're shooting to back up or get in or to chop. So make sure you're watching those limb chops. You have to show, if you're going to chop somebody in careless limb chops, meaning like at the elbows, at the knees, at the ankles, make sure you have reason. Make sure it looks really intentional and it helps the scene to chop them in that way rather than hurt the scene. Processing and cohesion. I know that it can be a struggle to figure out your style and what works for you. Make sure your processing cohesion is there, that you're not using presets and just slapping a preset on and hoping it works, and you have like 150 images with like 20 different presets. We want to see that you know how to have cohesion in your work, that it all looks like it's coming from you, who you are now, not who you were 3 years ago, who you were last year, who you are now, who you hope to be. We want to see who you are now. And maybe that means you're building your set and you have to go back and re-edit some images. It's an image from 3 years ago that you absolutely love, but it no longer fits your aesthetic now. Re-edit it. Have that cohesion in your work. Technical basics. This is focus, depth of field. We want to see that you can nail focus, but you also know how to use focus to your advantage, right? That depth of field, that you know how to create a storyline using focus. But you also need to make sure that your focus is on point. It's if you have someone to the side, it's not just one eye in focus, it's both eyes in focus, unless there is intentionality behind it. Intentionality, intentionality, intentionality. I can harp on that word over and over again because all of these categories need to have intentionality. We want to see that you know your own why you shot it this way, why it's stronger because of this, and why it deserves a place in your portfolio. And then creativity and intention. Of course, intentionality, this is kind of like the summing it all up, showing that you are creative. And that doesn't mean like you're producing like a unique work that nobody else is doing. Although like if it's coming from you, it's going to be unique and it should be what nobody else is doing because it's you and you're unique and you're unlike anybody else. but we want to see that you are creative within your own self, that you are producing work and not just going out and copying the top fads, but that you're really trying to push your own envelope and you're being really intentional about it. This should be the one that you're most proud of. This is the one that sets you apart from everybody else. You know, having solid exposure, having great composition, obviously those are what are going to make a stronger image. But to get a 5, we don't give 6s out very often, so that's why I say give a 5. To get a 5 in this should be something that you're really proud of, because even if things are lacking, if we can see that you are pushing your own envelope, being yourself, really sinking into who you are as an artist and have intentionality in your work, that's a major win. Major win. This is, I feel, the hardest thing for some artists to learn is their own why and their own intentions. So this is the creative side, right? Like you can learn the technical all day, but if you lack your own why, your work will never move people. It'll be much more difficult to have it actually positively affect people. So creativity and intention. Okay, so frequently asked questions, which I know we have a bunch of questions that I'll answer, but how should I organize my portfolio? So you're required to show us 150 images and little restrictions on how. Dropbox, Flickr, Shootproof, Pixie Set, however you want to show your 150 images is fine by us. Sending us your website, fine by us. It needs to have 150 images. And we don't have any restrictions on sizing because you're submitting them so many different ways. Flickr, Pixie, Shootproof, all of those websites likely have their own best practice of the sizes you need for upload and for best view. So we recommend that you go and look at their best practices and figure out what they think you need for best viewing on their platforms, because it's going to be different. So if we gave you like it needs to be, 2,000 pixels wide, well, that might not be best practice for Pixie Set. I don't know what the best practice is for Pixie Set, but that might not be. So we don't put restrictions on sizing or even the platform you use. However you feel best shares your work, use that. Personally, I think Flickr is Flickr's my favorite. It's my favorite for building a portfolio, my favorite for sharing my work. So that's who I use, but I'm not like dinging you because you use Pixie Set. Can you share your Instagram or Facebook? Yes, you can. We have had members accepted that shared their Facebook or Instagram, but it's not the best way to view images. It's really hard to see them and see if focus is correct. I would say your work has to be really high caliber for us to understand it via Instagram or Facebook. It's probably better if you organize a set of 150 images rather than sharing your Instagram. Yearly membership fee is $150 a year. So application fee for applying, which is non-refundable. And then once you're accepted, it's $150 a year. You saw all the different benefits you get. It's, I think, $175 discounts and free things immediately. And then obviously you're joining the community. What kinds of images should I include? Your portfolio should represent the best of what you do as a photographer. We don't have any requirements surrounding genre of your work or the techniques you demonstrate. You can shoot senior portrait, documentary, fine art, landscape, film. Casey McCauley was accepted on an iPhone set, 150 iPhone images. You can shoot exclusively black and white. We want to see who you are, whatever that means to you. I can show you my own set that I was accepted with if you guys are interested. But at the time, I was shooting birth primarily, newborn, fresh 48, personal work, family. I included all of those in my set. And really, you just want to figure out a pattern and a flow to help your work move together rather than maybe be like this, just free for all, plop them all in and send it off. But have there be a pattern or a movement to your portfolio to help us move through your different genres. Okay, application, basic, personalized, and advanced. When I became director, this was one of the first changes I made, because I know when I applied, if I could have gotten feedback, even being accepted, like if I had gotten feedback about how I could grow, it would have made me a stronger photographer. And we want everybody to walk away from the application process understanding who they are and how they can be stronger. So that's why we created actually different levels of application rather than just one. So, sorry, I hopped off to make sure nobody was asking questions. So basic, I'm the only one that's scoring it, and you're only getting scores back. There's going to be no rhyme or reason or telling you why you scored what you did beyond just you looking at the standards guide here and seeing like, okay, she scored me a 4 here. This is what a 4 means. Now I have to find those images. There are the things that made it a 4. There's no feedback. So just know that going into it, the basic is only me. So you're getting only my view and no feedback. Personalized, there's 3 different people that score it. Myself, 2 panelists, and you're getting the average of all 3 of our scores. And also one of the panelists is giving you feedback, which they're going to break down exposure, color, white balance, composition, the 7 categories, and give you feedback on each category. Depending on how you applied, they're going to tell you which images hurt that category or helps that category, what they're seeing. I say depending on how you applied because some, I think Pixie Set doesn't allow us to like tell which images are which. Like the Flickr, we can share the URL for each image. You know, like, okay, here's the URL for this image. You had a color cast. That's why I say I like Flickr because we can share specific images. Some portfolios or way you submit don't allow us to do that, or we don't see image names. So there's no way for us to tell you like, okay, image 57, da da da. So be aware of that. We'll give you more generalizations if we can't specify the exact image, but we will give you feedback on each category, as well as your strengths, your weaknesses, and follow-up advice. For, you know, we may say like, so Sarah Wilkerson's Flawless, go purchase that, learn it. I think it would help you a lot. But, or here's a workshop that we think you would really help you understand composition. Go take Susan Grimes' composition workshop. It'll take you to the next level. We're going to give you follow-up feedback about what you can do next, where resources that you can dive into. And advanced is a full portfolio. So that's average of 3 scores. And then one of the panelists is video critiquing your entire set, every single image, your entire set. It's amazing, and you're getting it based on the ClickPro standards. So advanced. Okay. I'm going to read your questions now, and we can talk about any questions before diving into this or that. You guys still following along? Everybody's still here, hopefully. I'm going to drink some coffee, guys. Okay, let's read this. These are some questions that were submitted earlier that I put in here. I have a question about exposure. In some of my images, the shadows are clipped or my highlights are blown, but it was done purposely, like highlights in a window slightly blown because I'm shooting inside and exposing to get good light in my subject, or I have a darken my background for portrait images where the background is not really important to what I'm trying to say with the image. Will these count against me when submitting? Okay, so it's really hard to answer this without actually seeing the image because sometimes people think like, oh, I couldn't get away blowing my highlights, but it was a critical highlight and you probably could have. So let's say it's a scenario in which there was no way around it. In order to correctly expose for your subject, you had to blow out the window behind them. That's not going to hurt you. If the important things are there and the important information is intact, then the secondary information, the things that don't matter, the window in the background being blown, will not hurt your score. It shows that you can accurately control your scene rather than not having any control over it. Clipped blacks are a little bit different. Because, I mean, you can have dark shadows without clipping your blacks. Like, do you need to take your blacks all the way clipped, or was it absolutely necessary for your blacks to be clipped in order for correct exposure of your scene? Again, it's one of those things where I have to see the image in order to tell you. But just in either case, make sure that you had no way around it, that you had no other choice than clipping your blacks or blowing your highlights, rather than just being like a creative choice because I really like it. And make sure your highlights are never blown on your subject. So if you have a person, that the face, you know, that you're not blowing your highlights on the face, or the hands. Like if the hands are holding flowers, make sure the flowers aren't blown and the hands aren't blown. Or you have, you know, yeah, make sure you're correctly exposing for your scene. I hope that helps. I forget who submitted that, but it's really difficult to answer without actually seeing the image, but just watch it in both cases. Watch it. Okay. Can we share a portfolio via Dropbox link? You sure can. We have no restrictions on how you submit the 150 images. However you think is best. And yes, you can share a Dropbox link. Okay, I'm going to skip the grading one because I'm going to show you this or that. Okay. Also, is there a way to view the rubric or photo examples of how the portfolios are graded? Yes, you can view the standards, which I showed you that link. How portfolios are graded. I used to have like an actual example grading of someone else's, but you can also go on Click a Mom's forum if you are there and see the video I did of Aubrey Barr's image or set and kind of talking through the mistakes that she made on that. But how they're graded, we don't actually show the process. The process is I get the application depending on the level that you submitted. Either I'm the only one looking at it or I'm sending it off to the panelists. I send it to the panelists. They grade it. They send me their scores and their feedback, and I compile it together and email you your scores. So you get that within 14 days. We don't like videotape ourselves grading unless it's the advanced, and then you're getting a video review of your portfolio review along with your scoring. What's the best way to ask for critique on portfolios before submitting? Any certain size and images should be, and what platform do we deliver them through? No restriction on size or platform. Best way to ask for critique on portfolio before submitting. I would say it's best to join a prep group. That was really huge for me, which you can go on the forum. And I actually have a link to a private prep group Facebook group now, which I know a bunch of you are in. And I can get you connected to a prep group, or find a mentor that you highly regard. And my advice would be somebody that doesn't know you. So maybe it's a pro that you've seen on the forum or seen around and you really love their work. Ask them if they would look at your set. I say a pro because they would understand the standards. They would understand kind of how they went about it. Obviously, they were successful, so that would be a really good person to ask. But have it be somebody that has no emotional connection to your work, because they can be most honest. Sometimes when you ask friends to critique your work, they want to be nice, or they have their own friend goggles. So have it be somebody you don't know, or just submit. Like, you know, submit and see, get the feedback. We created the personalized application so that you could get actual feedback about your best, strongest images, weakest images, and how you can become better. So while you may not feel confident that you will be accepted to pro right now, it would give you a really good baseline to figure out where to go next. So really utilize the feedback part of our application process, not so you can get into pro, but just so you can grow, or even the advanced portfolio review. Get a complete review, especially starting off January. And then you can start to create a plan for yourself. Like, okay, I got a 3 in color and white balance, and here are the images that this is where I need to grow most. Okay, what are the steps I need to do in order to gain those additional points in color white balance? How can I learn, that side of it? So maybe just submit and see where your work falls right now, so that you can have that critique in place to grow. Okay. I'm gonna guess this is what's the criteria for application? I feel like I answered that. Adelina, if you're still here and you have any more questions, let me know. But that standards guide should give you kind of the exact criteria of what we're looking for the images. What is the average time frame for a person to become a pro in? I like to work on a rough time frame. That totally varies. Some people, they learn about Click Pro and like submit that day, and they just happen to have 150 ridiculously amazing images that meet the standards, and they're accepted that day. Some people submit up to 5 times before being accepted into Click Pro over a course of years. It totally varies. It took me 3 months to build my own portfolio. So from the time I was like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm gonna do this. I was shooting every single day to get images for my portfolio, and it took me 3 months of like focus in order to build my portfolio. But it totally varies. It depends on if you already have those images there and you're just trying to organize them, if you're shooting for your application. So we hope to see you in soon though. What did you say the name of Sarah Wilkerson's book is called? I'm gonna write it right here. It's Flawless, The Secrets of Skin. Actually, let's link it. Give me 1 second and I will find the link for you, because I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I can't recommend it enough. I think it's the best selling too. It's loading the website right now. Sorry guys, I'm just looking for it. Here we go. Okay. Linking it right there. Flawless, The Secrets of Skin. Amazing. Life-changing. Like I still to this day use everything I learned in that ebook. Okay. Intentionality is surely very objective. If I intend blur, how do I know the intention is understood? I ask because I really love abstract, awkward, and off images. That's a great question. You're right. No matter what, guys, I cannot guarantee objectiveness. I can't. That would be absolutely silly of me to say that like myself and the panelists are 100% objective. Art will always have a level of subjectivity. Always. I'm a human. I'm working off of I'm a human. Like that's literally it, right? Like I'm a human. There's always going to be a level of subjectivity. Now the standards are placed there so that we can work off of as much objectivity as we possibly can. And I grade every single application as a plumb line. So nobody's getting like this, group of panelists that are all you know, really, really difficult or really, really easy or whatever. There's going to be a plumb line of acceptance denial because I'm viewing every single application. But again, like there will always be a level of subjectivity. Intentionality is going to be, is it successful? Like, what was your story? Can I understand the story? And were you successful in sharing that? It could totally be that no, it was not successful. We don't understand what you meant to do. It looks like a mistake. The story is in the blur, and the thing that's in focus makes no sense to the story. That we could totally believe that, or it could completely work. I wanted to see if I can find. See if she has any images on here, and we can look at contributors. Julie. Yeah. Okay. I want to show you that, like, it can work, and unique and crazy. Not crazy. Her work isn't crazy. Her work is really beautiful. Let me share my screen here. I want to show you Julie's work because obviously her work is very, very unique and different. I don't know what her acceptance set looked like. She was a pro before I became director, but she doesn't even have a whole lot on here. I just love her work. And it's unique and different, and she uses layers and blur. I mean, this girl is not in focus, but it works. Why does it work? It's because the blur actually feeds into the story. It feeds into it and it becomes this play of light and color and mood. And we don't need her to be in focus. It's very intentional and it works. So understanding why it works, understanding why it needs to be that way. And if we disagree, I would say, like, ask for critique of abstract images before submitting. If it doesn't work, like, take that with a grain of salt, but also, like, reevaluate. Why do the panelists not think that image works? What was I wanting to share, and what were they hearing? What were they seeing? And why was that not successful? How can I become more successful in sharing my story, that image's story, and having it communicate what it needs to communicate to be successful? It's like the idea, like, if I share an image and I'm like, oh, this image shares hope. Let's just say that's a word. And I show it to 100 people, and 100 people are like, we see sorrow. Like, we see sadness. It's depressing. And I'm like, well, you 100 people are wrong. It shares hope. Okay, then I see hope, but 100 people see sorrow and sadness. Why? Can I consider that image successful if the audience in which I want to have understand the image doesn't understand the image? I want to reevaluate. Why do I see hope, and why do they see sorrow? And what could I do to better share hope? Or maybe I'm like, you know what? I don't care, guys. I don't care what you think. Probably won't go on my portfolio, or I'm just going to have to just stick to it and be like, nope, this is it. This is my view. This is what I want to share. If you don't see it, too bad. There's definitely images where I think it says one thing and somebody says they think it's another thing. And I have to either just sink into who I am or listen and figure out how I can better share my point of view. Hopefully that helps. But Camilla, you said perhaps ask for a critique of abstract images before submitting. Yeah, I mean, you could always go and talk to an abstract photographer. I mean, Julie is definitely abstract. I'm gonna share my screen just because Mabel, she's another one I'm gonna look up right now. and see what she has on the daily. The daily project is a great place to look because this is where all of Maple Chow. I feel like she, or maybe it's, okay. Well, there's some abstract. I knew she had some abstract. But let me go look. Is it Nadia? No. There's another artist I'm thinking of. Oh, here, Nina. She'd be a good one to go to talk to because I know that she does a lot of abstract. Mabel shoots a lot of abstract. She doesn't have a whole lot on her daily project, but I would find a photographer that shoots abstract that you, again, like I would make it one that has a Click Pro. Julie Girding. She's Julie. I love her work. If you follow her on Instagram, it's just stunning and it's very, very abstract and really beautiful. Okay. You're totally welcome. Google Pics okay to use to submit pictures? I have actually don't know anything about Google Pics, Kelly. I don't even think I've got an application with Google Pics. If you can send 150 images via Google Pics and it works for you and you think it showcases your images best, totally go for it. Just make sure that nothing has enter your email or password needed for us to access it. We will tell you to open it up and make it so that we can just access it whenever. It's also because, yeah, no passwords needed and no emails needed in order to access your images. We need to have direct access. If I'm denied Click Pro, do I have to wait a certain amount of time before reapplying? No, you do not, Kelly. You can apply whenever you're ready again. I would say really sink into your scores, figure out why, because if you're just throwing in additional images and submitting the next week, it would be hard for me to understand if you would really get the score, like the extra points needed, unless you scored like a 31 and you're just needing like one extra point, which can be the difference of like a image sometimes. But there's no certain time frame before reapplying. You can apply as many times as you want, whenever you want, and we will gladly review your work for you. Oh, wait, I thought I answered that. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't know why it's saying reopen question. Okay. Are there any example pictures that demonstrate the grading for each criteria? I thought this would be fun. I asked the pros this, that. And I know I said that earlier. So let's go and look at the this, not that. I'm just opening up a bunch here so we can look at them. You're welcome. Kelly said, thank you for answering those questions. Drop more if you have them, but let's look at this, not that, that some pros sent me. Making sure you guys can still see this and I can still see your things. So I asked the pros to send me 2 images that with little variations and share why they made choices they did, which I don't have it here of their whys, but I think you guys, I just want you to look at them and see the different choices they made. So this is Anna, this is her, this, and that was in her accepted set, not that. Still a really stunning image, beautiful eye contact. The white balance is good, the composition is great, but this is the one that she chose. And she said it was just seconds apart, and this was her which this has more of an emotional connection, right? Like the face, the body language, it communicates more. And it's not surprising to me that when she had to choose between these two, she chose this, not that. Brandy chose this, not that. So you can see her intentionality with just creating some more negative space. and having her daughter over here. This, not that. This has really great leading lines. You can see swooping down here across the scene, where this leads us out there, but this is just a really much more compelling composition. Okay. So this is Brandy's this. I saved these from Facebook. So if they're a little crunchy, it's because I just saved them off of Facebook. So this, which pay attention to the hand right here, not that. So what she was saying was the hand didn't look relaxed. It was a little bit off. And so she actually swapped out the hand. So same exact image, she just swapped the hand for one that was more relaxed on the mom, rather than one that was unrelaxed, which she is posing her clients. She's not a documentary photographer. So I'm going to be paying attention to that when I score her set, paying attention that she is controlling her subjects and controlling the pose. So that does make a difference. That little hand there and the difference between here shows me that she is paying attention to her clients. She's paying attention to the hands, the feet, the shape of the client. It's not that. This is Brandy again. Not that. This was her straight out of camera. We read images left to right. So if you have a person looking, it's always stronger if they're looking out to the right, because our eye is going to come back into the frame because we read left to right, left to right. Where if they're looking out left, we're entering left and we're stopping here and we're going right back out. So we actually, this is just all dead space, really, where this one, we're going through it to reach her and then again, we're not really like leaving the frame, like we're going here and looking out, but we're coming right back in. It's a stronger composition, so it makes sense that she would flip it. This, not that. She straightened it. So she straightened these lines over this one. Make sure you're paying attention to all the lines in your frame. If I do that, you can really see. Not just your horizons, but all the lines surrounding your subjects. Straighten them up. I like this one. This, not that. Why? Because this actually chops the legs. It's not just chops on people that you need to be concerned about, and she's chopping right here at the ankles. Not just people you need to be concerned about, but animals too. All of your subjects, where you're chopping them is really important. So she actually chops it at the belly and at the mid-thigh, which is a better place to chop it. It's not as severe. So she's cropping it in and fixing those chops and making for a stronger frame. This, not that, which this one, she is just warming it up. You can see she's fixing the white balance here, right? It's beautiful and golden around her, but her face and hands are really blue. The white balance on her is incorrect. So she's warming it up and getting that white balance on her to be correct. This, not that. Beautiful image, but horizon right through the head. No. Does not make for a strong image. This is a much stronger image than this. This, I'm going to make them the same size so we can really see. So she's correcting the horizon again here. Such a small change. This, not that. This, not that. See how this one is crooked? She just straightens it out just ever so much and makes for a stronger image. Laura Beth, two things. The color was competing for her in this image. This is her straight out of camera. So she converted it black and white, and she also waited for there to be more balance in the frame. So this little girl and this little girl up on the set, created more balance than what this could have done if she converted this one black and white. So 2 things she did differently. She waited for there to be more balance between all of her subjects, and then she converted it black and white. This, not that. So you can see how the color overwhelms the storyline in this image. It was really smart of her to convert it black and white, because then these subjects really are the thing that pop, not the overwhelming color scheme. They kind of get lost within the color, the competing orange, the green. Here, none of this really matters, and we're drawn straight into these lines and the subjects behind them. Head chop, this one, are you talking about the head chop? This doesn't matter, the head chop here. No, and not in this story. This story, it's about the juxtaposition between the two. And so the head chop here does not hurt the image at all. It's not important that we see their face. It's more this interaction here and this interaction here. The touching points between the two subjects are where the story is, rather than the boy's reaction to it. So no, great point, Cam, but in this instance, the head chop does not hurt the image. The storyline is still there. Okay, this, not that, which she corrected her lines. You can see, make this one a little smaller so we can really see that. Corrected her lines, and obviously way underexposed. So she had to up her exposure in post, because her straight out of camera was underexposed. This, not that. So you can see that she underexposes in camera to maintain all of those highlights. Had she exposed for her son, the sky would have been blown. All of these details would have been blown, which goes back to like the, can you blow your details to get your subject in focus, and does that matter? That's why I say it depends on the image, because in this instance, I would expect a Click Pro to underexpose in camera, knowing that she needs to maintain those highlights. So Veronica does that here. She underexposes her son so she can maintain all of the details in the water here, in the sky here, and then corrects it in post so that she can have her entire scene correctly exposed. Okay, I wanted to go to the Facebook page because I had some people submit more. Are these fun for you guys to see? The this, not that. I think the series is really cool. I'm just gonna separate this off so I can. Awesome. Yes, very helpful. I think it's, yeah, helpful too. Okay, let me go to where I asked them. And then I can share that screen. Hi. Okay. Okay, these are all ones we looked at. I loved Crystal's example here because depending on her portfolio, this edit could work, right? She's got all the blues, but their skin looks beautiful. It's nice and warm. It's definitely correct skin tone, and the scene was really blue. So depending on her portfolio, that could have been fine. But it's really understanding how your image works with your complete portfolio, not just by itself. So for her portfolio, she said that she needed to warm up her scene. She edits really warm. Her images tend to move that way, and she knows that about herself. So she warms up her scene, even though the skin tones doesn't change, but to fit her portfolio more. So she understands that cohesion aspect, and that's why she made that change. Veronica's again. Iris, you can see, not that. The two competing white balances. If you are going to include underwater images in your set, you have got to make sure you correct white balance. The red so light has various colors, right? Like, and red does not show up in the water. It barely penetrates water underwater. And so you have to actually correct your white balance if you're shooting underwater. And that is definitely a huge mistake I see. Underwater photography is really, really huge right now. And a lot of people have GoPros or iPhones that can go underwater, but they don't correct white balance for underwater, and that will hurt your set. So correct white balance. And Iris was really smart in this point because she has these two competing white balances. And so she, instead of correcting the white balance, just turned it black and white. And you can also see that she cropped in too, so that this was the major story and this was the minor story, rather than like showing more of her foot and having her son be tiny. This, in this crop, this is the main story, and that's kind of the minor story. He's smaller, but she was smart to make him more of the main. You can see that she cropped all this dead space around and cropped it in a bit more. Okay, so Doreen says this, and I'll show you the not that. She said, change the orientation of the photo and did a lot of cloning in Photoshop to get rid of the shadow on me and the floaty. Also added a ring in Photoshop, but still not sure if that was a little too much. So you can see she actually cloned out this right here, which definitely is distracting, and changed the orientation. So let's go back. That's amazing. Props to her. I definitely would not have even known she cloned out that shadow and added this ring to it. Definitely makes for a much stronger image. It's the difference between a snapshot and a photograph right there. So Sunny says this. Overall cool highlights and the way to warm up in low light. This is a much more subtle example on others, but it's an error I was commonly making even after making Click Pro, until Megan Lukes kindly helped me bring to my attention. So cool. She warmed up what would be cool highlights, a mistake that she was making, and she corrected that in post. Okay, so this. Not that. This is great, but this shares the emotion much better. This is a much stronger story than the pullback shot. So you can see subtly she straightened things and warmed it up. I love Veronica because she, her work really relies on negative space and a clean scene. So you can see that she cloned out the window here to create a nice clean scene, which fits her work rather than keeping the window in it. And the little dots right here, which definitely were distracting. A lot of these I haven't seen yet. So Melissa Richard, this. Her not that, too cool, flipped the image, warmed it up, straightened it up, cloned out distractions, added contrast and some rain. Oh, to start, that started as we were there, that I didn't get on camera. Not that. This is an interesting one because I actually love her not that as well. So it's fun to see her intentionality and how she chose it, what she thought was stronger. I think they're both really great images, but I wasn't opposed to this one either. So it's an interesting one to see her, this, not that. Obviously warm up the scene. I think you guys can see that there, right? Correcting the white balance. Flipping it again, so we're entering the scene in this way and then going back out rather than here, and this line leads us out, we don't go back in. That leading line is leading us in and keeping us in the scene. Okay, in this in-home family session, show her actually playing the guitar and her reflection in the mirror helps tell the story. Lines are straight and shot more direct on instead of downwards, which works better. So when we take a subject or we take something and we multiply it we're intensifying what it is. So that can really work to your advantage within photography if you have reflections or double of something. That could be two people doing the same thing, intensifies that storyline. So it's really smart of Francesca to shoot this so there's this reflection, because what she's doing, we're doubling it and we're intensifying it and making it even more important. So here's her not that. Underexposed, boring, unnatural post moment. So the difference between this and that. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. These are Sarah's kids. Here's what I got. This, not that. Ugly fence, underexposed, too wide. This. Oh, they're so adorable. Not that. Underexposed, needed to be slightly straightened. This. Okay, she polished the final image. Polishing the final image is important. I cloned out the competing plant in the lower left corner. I also cloned in a faint leaf in the dark hole just to make the background more uniform and not distracting. I also extended the canvas just a bit to give it breathing room and the rule of thirds composition, or the rule of thirds crop. Not that. You can see how that really does just remove distractions and gives a much cleaner image. You can see how this does pull your focus here because of that little pop of yellow. She waited for a better composition, making a difference. You can see how they're all kind of balancing each other out. There's space in between all, this is a subject and these are subjects. There's space in between all of the subjects. You get to move throughout the frame. Not that. Are you going to load? Not that. So yeah, everything's kind of squashed here. The other one allowed your eye to move through the frame much better. Awesome. Okay, that's it for this, not that. I hope that helps for you guys to see those little examples of simple ways you can create a stronger image. Is there a place on Click and Moms where people share accepted and non-accepted submissions? There is. Let's go back to Click and Moms. You may have to sign in again. And that could be definitely really helpful to see accepted and not accepted portfolios. So if you're on Click and Moms, you can go down to Serious Critique, click Pro Application Preparation. And this is where people share their accepted or denied. So here's denied documentary and nature set. Here's an accepted set, another accepted set, denied. You can see all of these sets. And it's really fun sometimes to see like, where's Molly? This isn't Molly's. Molly actually applied twice. I don't think she shared her denied set, but she does share her accepted set. And then right here. And then Carrie, I believe, applied 3 times. Oh, here, look, her first attempt, so she applied twice. Her first attempt and her second attempt, and you can see a difference of 1 score a year in between. So she actually shared both, which I think is really helpful to see. So if you are on Click and Moms, if you go to Serious Critique, click Pro Application Preparation, you can see all of those different, I mean, they're going back 50 pages. So years of accepted, denied. You can also click on Click Pro Prep Group, and there's a link to the new Facebook page. I literally created it yesterday, trying to get everybody who's wanting to apply in a single place, and then we can get you into prep groups and have more of a central place that I can kind of directly connect with you to make it a little bit easier. So hopefully that helps. When framing a subject as rule of thirds, not as important. Not just rule of thirds, I would say just composition in general. Remember that there's more than just rule of thirds. Actually, if your set is only rule of thirds, you'll receive 4 points. So in receive a 5 point or higher, you have to show that you're using more than just rule of thirds. If you're using only center composition, then it'll be a score of 3 points. So center comp, 3 points. If you're showing that you know how to use rule of thirds, 4 points. If you're using more than just center composition and rule of thirds, you'll receive more than 5 points. So that's spiral, golden spiral, triangle, golden ratio, which is rule of thirds, but like much smaller. Showing that you can break rules even within composition and know kind of when to do that. That's when you'll score a 5 or more. And Kelly, are you on Click and Moms? And if you're on Click and Moms, I can definitely look up the different kinds of compositions, and there'll be lots of resources. Awesome. There'll be lots of resources in the tutorial section. I mean, we could let me see here. The way to search for it, if you click on this search here, you can search topics and then go down and find tutorial shooting. And then you could put in composition. And you can get lots of different tutorials on compositions, which is really a great way to look at it. And I'll tell you my own story. So right before I joined ClickPro, or I submitted my portfolio, I had a portfolio review with Sarah Lalone, a ClickPro, and she was a mentor at the time, a Click and Moms mentor. And I had a review with her, and I submitted, I think, 50 images. And she was like, all I see is rule of thirds. You don't really have spiral or triangle, so you could definitely improve there and break more out of your composition that you're, that rule of thirds composition. And I was like, what is spiral? What is triangle? I never even heard of those compositions before. And that just opened up a whole new world for me. So then I dived into Click and Moms and I looked at examples, because it was not intuitive for me at that point to be shooting triangle or spiral. And looked at examples, got on Google, YouTube, and then shot for those compositions. And so I could include them in my application. So when framing a subject as rule of thirds, not as important. Yes, it's important. It's important to have a strong composition, but that is much more than just rule of thirds. That could be center comp, rule of thirds. That could be a spiral. It could be a triangle. But definitely paying attention to your composition. Is there a link to the set you said you denied, Aubrey? You know what? It is. Let me grab the Vimeo link for you guys. It's a whole other webinar just like this that I did, although the information in it is older because I did it before we changed over the application process. But I can definitely pull it up for you guys. Let me see here, so that you have at least a link to it. You know what? And I feel like it's in the Click and Moms thing too. Okay, I'm gonna get really close to my screen here so I can read these. I'm sorry that I'm taking up your whole screen. Okay, here it is. Okay, that is the first how-to guide that I did. It's 2 hours long. I think we're going on 2 hours. Oh yeah, almost 2 hours here. But I do pull up her set and show you some of the mistakes she made. I don't have her accepted set. It might be in the Click and Moms forum, her accepted set, which would be really, really great for you guys to see in comparison to her denied set. But she was, the whole reason I reviewed her set was because she made some of the top errors I see, like converting one image black and white and one image color, or having two images that are very similar to each other. Or she is a chopper. So she would chop all her images and have all these funky Lin chops, but she didn't yet show control and really an understanding of why something was stronger and something was weaker. So I looked at her images because some of her extreme chops really worked. She had one of her sitting on a bed or sitting somewhere, and she's singing into a microphone, and it's a really extreme chop, but it worked really well. So I go through and say why that one worked, why some other ones didn't work. She had an image of her dogs in a doorway, and she chopped their legs off. And it was really hard for her to accept that that was an incorrect chop, because the emotion behind them being her dogs was really strong. But then once we explained, and now I'm sure she would look at it and be like, oh, I completely understand now. Like, that was definitely a wrong chop. But she just had some mistakes in it. I also want to say that she also did a webinar recently. Actually, let me go back. I reviewed her set because she was so close. Like, she's such an amazing photographer that I was like, Aubrey, you have to do this. Like, you need to be a pro. You're made for pro. Your work is so there, but I can't accept you on this set. Like, you have to come back and give me something different. But I also want to link this because this is a webinar she just did on creating outside the lens, which is really fun. Anyways, so yeah, you can check out that Vimeo and see the first little blurb I did about this. It's going to be a lot of the same things. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, guys, or things you want to know about? When to apply? Especially coming up on January in a fresh year, I'm going to encourage all of you guys to create a portfolio for yourself. And at least if you don't apply to see where you are, get somebody to review your image so that you can find out kind of where you're at. And oh, you lost. Can everybody else hear me? Okay. You know what? I was going to actually show you guys. Okay. My own, I don't think I have it up anymore. I think I love Flickr for building portfolios. I think this is a really good way to build your portfolio because it's very easy. I don't have all the image, but here's my set from 2014. I recently had to remove all my images off Flickr because they made that like you could only have 1,000 images thing, and I had like 10,000 images. But up until I removed them all, I actually used Flickr for building my yearly portfolio. So every year, I build myself a new set on Flickr, and I add images to it that share who I am now. So this is something I continue to do even after being pro, because it shows me my evolution. It helps me to see where I've grown, where I still need to grow. Because sometimes year to year, we don't really see our own growth. It's only when we start doing this that we can be like, oh, wow, yeah, I have really gotten better at composition or color or seeing the story or all the things that you've kind of grown in. In my sets, so this is my 2019 that I have been building. My sets don't just include images from 2019 even. I actually pull all images that still speak to who I am, regardless if I shot them years ago or I shot them now. The only difference is that I will look and see if I need to re-edit images, and I will re-edit old images to keep up with who I am now. So I was gonna show you guys like this set. I have an image here that I need to re-edit. This was taken 2016, and you can see it's very matted and the lines aren't straight. I need to fix the lines, and I need to re-edit it to match my set now. And I will also go through and delete images that no longer speak to who I am. So I need to delete this one, and I need to delete this one, and add more to it to keep up with who I am now. So I do recommend Flickr, even if you're not going to submit your portfolio that way, just for building out your albums and just keeping up with who you are and how you're evolving as an artist. It can be really helpful. I do definitely love Flickr because it's so easy to edit my images. You just open it up. You can go through and review. This is all my accepted set images here. So I'm going through. You know, you can go through super easy and pull in images and edit them around and move them and try and find the flow that you want, something that works you know, for your set. I love Flickr. But I still, to this day, use Flickr for my work. And again, you can, if you really wanted to, go see. It doesn't have all 150 because I lost some when I deleted it. But you can see my set from 2014, and look at how much I've changed from when I first applied till now. Very different. So hopefully that helps. Okay, I'm gonna. Now you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Some people can, some people can't. How weird. Okay. Well, I'm going to sign off, guys. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email me, Courtney@clickandcompany.com. For joining in, I'm going to send you guys all a 20% off application coupon so that you can get your application in, maybe kickstart you to really build out that, yay, I know, wahoo, build out that portfolio. Because guys, the thing I want you to know the most is that we really want to see you guys succeed. We want to see you become stronger photographers. And regardless if you get an acceptance or denial, I want you guys to understand that that is like, that would be like the icing on the cake, obviously. But the application process is about walking away, understanding who you are and how you can be better. And that should happen regardless of an acceptance or a denial. So it'll give you something to work towards. Obviously, we want to see you in the pro community because we know that we're pretty rad people and we really love our community. And I do hope that I'll see you guys there soon. But thank you so much for joining in and for listening to 2 hours of me ranting. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to your applications soon. Thanks, guys.